welcome to this candidates and agents briefing ahead of the Newcastle-under-Lyme Borough Council and Parish Council elections, which will be held on the 7th of May. We'll do introductions in just a moment, but we'll cover a number of topics tonight. We will move through this quickly as we go through. So we'll see a little bit about the changes that have come in since we last held Borough Council all-out elections in 2022. We'll tell you who we are, share a bit about the election timetable, then we'll go through a fair amount of process around standing and what you need to do. Then we'll cover polling day and the counting of votes, cover at the end candidate spending, and a chance for any questions as we go through the sessions. So I'm Gordon Mole. I'm the Chief Executive of Newcastle-under-Lyme Borough Council, and I'm the returning officer for the Newcastle Borough area. My colleague Anthony Harold, who's the Service Director for Legal and Governance, will be my Deputy Returning Officer. With me tonight are Stephanie Price, our Elections Manager, who many of you will know, and Steph will act as our Deputy Returning Officer as well. And I'm also joined by Chris Booth from the Elections team, and Chris alongside Annette and Julie form our core elections team. But as many of you will know, if you've stood for elections before, there's a cast of hundreds involved in any elections process, both on our side and on yours. So there'll be lots of names and faces in the frame as we go through. So I'll just start off by saying a little bit about the elections timetable and the key things that you need to be aware of in respect to the timetable. As I mentioned, the presentation does include changes to the electoral process as a result of the Elections Act of 2022. These include voter ID requirements and changes to the rules around postal vote handling and secrecy. And Chris will, through the course of this meeting, put that guidance in the chat. If any candidates or agents on the call tonight have old versions of the guidance, we ask you to disregard these and make sure you refer to the up-to-date guidance, as that will be up to date, and Chris has just posted that into the chat for us there. So looking then at the timetable, our key starting date for the process will be the publication of notice of election, which will take place on the 27th of March. And on the same day, nominations will commence from 9:30 a.m. That day, and Steph will tell you a little bit more about the nominations process, how to book an appointment with the elections team, and what you'll need to do that. It's worth noting that as the nominations period also covers the Easter long weekend, do be advised that our offices will be closed on Good Friday and Easter Monday. That's the 3rd and 6th of April. And closure of nominations takes place at 4 o'clock. That's an absolute deadline on the 9th of April. So if you are coming forward to nominate yourself or others, please make sure that you do so within our open days, which are Friday 27th of March, the Monday to Thursday of the first Easter week, and then the Tuesday to Thursday of the second Easter week. So don't miss out there, please. On the same day as the closure of nominations is the notification of appointments of election agents. And then the following day, on the 10th of April, we will be publishing the statement of persons nominated and the notice of poll and situation of polling stations. The next key dates is the applications registered to vote. And again, Steph will cover this in a bit more detail later in the presentation. That is midnight on the 20th of April. And the deadline for new postal vote applications is 5 p.m. on the 21st of April. The deadline for new proxy votes is the 28th of April, alongside new voter authority certificates, obviously one of those changes since the 22 Act. And as you'll see there, appointments of counting and polling agents is the 29th of April. We then move forward to polling day itself, which will be all polling stations open 7 a.m. to 10 p.m. as normal on that day. And you'll see there the deadlines for proxy on grounds of medical emergency, replacement votes, and alterations to register any clerical error. And then the deadline for applications for temporary voter authority certificates is up to 10 o'clock on polling day. And then finally in this timetable, the bit after the elections is return of election expenses. And again, the dates are there. So with that, I'll hand over to Steph, who will take you through the nominations process.
Thanks, Gordon. The qualifications who can stand are listed on the screen. The qualification to be a registered elector is ongoing, meaning candidates must continue to meet the relevant criteria throughout their entire term if elected. When completing the consent to nomination, it's important to tick every qualification that applies. Standing as a candidate, the list of disqualifications is not exhaustive, and candidates should refer to the Electoral Commission's full guidance. If a candidate is unsure, they must confirm their eligibility before submitting nomination papers. Signing the nomination documents is a legal declaration, and making a false statement is a criminal offence. The returning officer cannot advise candidates on their eligibility. Candidates must submit all required documents by 4 p.m. on the 9th of April. Nomination packs are available online or in person from the 27th of March and include annotated examples to help complete the forms correctly. Nomination paper. Provide your full legal name. If you commonly use another name and want it on the ballot paper, you must include it. In the description field, choose from. You can either leave blank, independent, or a party name description authorised by the nominating officer. Any commonly used name will appear on official notices and on the ballot paper. Party candidates must ensure this description matches the certificate exactly. Only 2 subscribers are now required, and they must be registered electors in the relevant area. So if you're standing as a candidate, for example, in the Crossy ward, the 2 subscribers need to be registered and reside in that ward. Candidates should ensure subscribers understand how their data will be used under the GDPR regulations. Home address form. Part 1 is mandatory and must include your full name, complete home address, qualifying addresses, and qualifications that apply, which are A, B, C, or D, and the name and address of the witness signing your consent. Complete Part 2 only if you want your home address withheld from the statement of persons nominated and the ballot paper. Instead, provide the relevant area for this election. In this case, this would be Newcastle-under-Lyme. Consent to nomination form. If you qualify under multiple criteria, include them all. Your signature must be witnessed, and the witness must match the details on your home address form. The form cannot be signed more than 1 month before the deadline. Candidates should only sign if they are genuinely eligible. Certificate of authorisation. If the certificate specifies wording, you must use it. If it gives a choice, you may choose from registered party names or descriptions, which must match exactly. Emblems. Candidates using a party description may request an emblem using the form provided. Joint candidates must be registered and require certificates of authorisation from each party. Submitting nomination papers by 4 p.m. on the 9th of April 2026. All candidates must submit their nomination form, home address form and consent to nomination. Party candidates must also submit a certificate of authorisation and an emblem request if applicable. Forms should be completed carefully using the Electoral Commission's guidance, and an informal check appointment is required before submission. Core documents must be delivered by hand. Certificates and emblem requests may be posted. Once accepted, a validity letter will be issued by email. Operation Forward. An additional form is included in the nomination pack. This is new this time. This is so we can collect candidate and agent contact details. These details will be shared with the police for any up and coming briefing sessions and may be used for urgent communication. Right, moving on to agents. Election agents can be replaced at any time. Candidates acting as their own agent should provide an office address. Otherwise, their home address will appear on the notice of election agents. Other agents. Further guidance on postal vote opening, verification, the count and polling agents will be provided. Current limits are postal voting opening 1 agent, polling stations 3 agents, and the count will be confirmed after the close of nominations. Access to electoral register and absent voting lists. Once officially a candidate, you may receive a free copy of the full register and absent voters list. Digital copies are provided securely. Paper copies may be collected by appointment. Misusing the register may result in a fine. Registration. Voters should be reassured that polling stations are safe and they may vote in person, by post or by proxy. Postal vote applicants should apply early. Since the last local government election in 2022, all electors are now required to provide voter ID when they go and vote at a polling station. An eligible list of accepted ID can be found on the following link, and it is also provided on the poll card. Electors can apply for a free voter ID known as a Voter Authority Certificate if they do not have eligible ID. Applications can be made online, by post or by calling into Castle House reception, where a member of the team will also be able to take a photograph if required. Applications for a Voter Authority Certificate must be received by 5 p.m. on the 23rd of April. Absent voting. We encourage early applications. Deadlines for postal votes is the 21st of April 2026. Proxy votes the 28th of April 2026, and the deadline for both of these is before 5 p.m. Emergency proxies may be available after 5 p.m. on the 28th of April. Applications can be submitted by post or online and must include a national insurance number. Postal voting handing. Postal voters are encouraged to return packs via Royal Mail. If handing in a postal vote ballot pack at Castle House or at a polling station, a postal vote return form must be completed or the vote will be rejected.
Thank you very much, Steph. Just as we go through this, If any of this is, or all of this is new to you, then remember we're here to help. So we are taking a recording of this session to be available, but do ask the team. We've had the contact details and we'll make sure we post those again for you. We are here to help. The team are incredibly knowledgeable, particularly on those changes since the last election. So when you come in for your candidates or agents meeting, don't be afraid. There are no daft questions on this process. So I'm just going to take you on now around the campaigning do's and don'ts. Firstly, just to say that on printed materials such as leaflets and posters, candidates must include the name and address of the printer and promoter. That is a requirement. If you are thinking about fly posting leaflets, a reminder that the County Council does not allow the use of street lighting and street furniture for the display of election posters or materials. And the County Council does not give any permission to any person to place posters or other election materials on anything that's within the highways limits. So any signs or posters that are put up without permission are liable to be removed, and the relevant election agent will be charged with the cost of that removal. So do keep it within the rules in respect of the campaigning, and make sure that you've read the guidance which Chris has just posted in the chat. We ask that you don't produce material that looks like a poll card. You mustn't pay people to display your adverts unless they display adverts as a normal part of their business. And do not handle any postal voting documents, as Steph said, that you are not entitled to. So it is worth rereading the guidance that Chris has just posted into the chat in respect of campaigning. In respect to the campaigning code of conduct, campaigning is an essential element of a healthy democracy, but should not bring into question the integrity of the electoral process. So we do ask that you ensure your forms fully conform to the requirements of electoral law, to make sure electors are aware that they can apply to register or for an absent vote online. You must include the ERO address for the return of forms, and that should clearly be provided as the preferred return address. And again, we'll post details of this into the chat. It's also your responsibility to ensure that unaltered applications are sent to myself as ERO within 2 working days of submission. And critically, to make sure electors understand the implications of applying for an absent vote. We ask that you do not encourage postal ballot pack redirection, and you don't encourage electors to appoint a campaigner as a proxy to maintain the integrity of the process. In respect of postal voting documents, a reminder to never touch any of an elector's postal voting documents, never observe electors completing their postal vote in the same way that you wouldn't be able to in a polling station, or never handle or take any completed ballot paper or postal ballot pack from voters. You are allowed to campaign outside polling stations on polling day, including public spaces. If you do stray into areas where you're not allowed, polling station staff will advise you of that. We ask that you follow their direction in those cases. And also make sure that you keep access to polling places and the pavements around polling places clear to allow voters to enter. Although you may be competing for space with the Instagram dogs outside some polling stations. We know that's increasingly popular. The reminder, it is an offence for a political campaign or at an election to handle postal votes of another person unless that person is a close relative or someone for whom they or the organisation which employs them provides regular care. So if in doubt, just stick to those rules. I'll now move on to the postal vote opening process. If you wish to attend a postal vote opening session, you will need to complete the postal vote agent form and give at least 48 hours notice that you intend to attend one of the postal vote opening sessions. These will take place on the 27th of April at Jubilee 2 Dance Studios as usual. Our final opening session will move up to Keele Sports Centre where the electoral count will be held. We'll ask Royal Mail to do a sweep on polling day to make sure that we've captured all of the postal votes. Candidates and postal vote agents can attend, and as Steph's already outlined, it's one postal vote agent for each candidate. Where you're handing in postal votes to council buildings, staff assisting in the completion of the postal vote return form will allow for a consistent approach for all individuals who want to hand in postal votes. This reduces the risk of return postal votes being rejected or being incorrectly returned. As Steph's outlined, these should be returned to the reception at Castle House, and we'll make you aware through the process of any other routes that you can take, but bear that in mind. Postal votes should not, under any circumstances, be dropped off to the council offices without completing the postal vote return form, because those ballots will have to be rejected. Thinking then about polling stations and polling day itself. As ever, polling stations will be open from 7 AM to 10 PM on polling day. The elections office will be open across the day for any queries relating to the administration of the election. Voters, as normal in the polling station or in a queue outside the polling station at 10 o'clock, can apply for a ballot paper. So if they're already there to vote, they are able to cast their vote. Postal votes can be handed into polling stations within the division, within the wards, or delivered to the elections office until 10 PM. Do make sure, as we've just previously said, that the postal vote return form is also completed. And there will be equipment on hand to assist people who need special adaptations at the polling stations. And again, polling clerks and presiding officers are very adept at making sure that everyone who wants to cast their vote is able to do so, as long as they have the correct ID. Police community support officers can also attend and enter polling stations, as well as police officers. And our colleagues, I know Rob Hadgett is on the call from staff to police, are available to assist with the security, both of the process and of candidates and election staff through the day. And then finally, in terms of process, we move on to the counting of votes. The count venue will be Keele Sports Centre. It's a well-established and well-used facility that we've used for several elections now and works well. On elections day itself, Thursday the 7th of May, we will first do verification of all borough, parish, town elections before we start the count for the borough council elections. Parish and town council counting will take place on Monday, the 10th of May. Monday the 11th of May, missing a day there. Too keen to get back to counting. So the procedure for this will be that we will check against the ballot paper account, so the verification process. The method of counting votes will be our usual borough method. And then there will be opportunities for a recount at the both the request of candidates and agents and at the decision of the returning officers. And then we'll move to declaration of results. We will look to put out a bit of detail near the time around some of the possible timings that we will use. Obviously, timings are not guaranteed, The timings that we will follow will be to have a valid result for the process. There will be access restrictions to the count venue, and everyone attending must be pre-registered. So there's no automatic access rights by dint of position, so existing councillors, members of parliament, etc. The returning officer, myself, does have the discretion to invite people as guests, and if so, they should apply to me as the returning officer if they wish to attend. Also entitled to attend are registered observers and electoral commission staff and accredited media. And further details of that will follow in due course. And just to come back to that voting process, so we use grass skirts, block voting, and multi-member counts. So we've got through the process. We have a valid result for a seat, and then this part covers the successful candidates. So after the declaration of results, successful candidates will immediately be issued with an information pack informing them of the very first steps they will be required to take. That includes making contact about signing acceptance of office. We know that in the middle of the night or early in the morning, some of that may get lost, but do take the time, if you are a successful candidate, to make sure you've read through and understood that information pack. Just coming on to candidate spending. For borough council elections, if a candidate has an election agent, it is the agent who's responsible in law for the return, but the candidate must also submit a declaration that the return is correct, and therefore candidates should be aware of the rules. While spending returns are made to the proper officer, specific questions on campaign expenditure should not be directed to the proper officer, the returning officer, or the elections team. Candidates and agents should consult the Commission's Candidates and Agents Guide in the first instance. Further guidance, forms and contact details are available from the Commission's website, and we've got those contact details at the end of this presentation. The pence per elector part of the candidate spending limit is based on the number of electors on the electoral register for the ward at the last date of publication of the notice of election. Further detail will be provided on this. And some critical dates which we covered in the electoral timetable at the beginning here. Returns to be returned in writing to the returning officer, and again we'll make those details available. In the last all-out election, we had to chase quite a few outstanding expenses. It is really important that these are returned on time to us for quick processing. So do please make sure you prioritise that. It can get forgotten, but we are on a tight timetable after the election to complete that process. No money spent on your campaign can be reclaimed from the council or the electoral commission. The rules simply restrict how much can be spent. Okay. So having been through the process, just a word on other considerations, both for candidates and for agents. Firstly, if you need any additional guidance in understanding the role of the councillor, there's a lot of good information on the Electoral Commission website that's available to you. You do need two eligible nominators. So if you haven't yet considered who will nominate you, now's the time to do that, to make sure that you have those available to you. And critically, I'm sure those on the call don't need telling this, but being a councillor is a large time commitment. And so just ask yourself if you can commit the time needed to be a councillor if you're elected. There are plenty of resources online to assist. And if you're unclear on any part of the process we've just described, again, just ask or contact us. after the briefing. So finally then, before we go to questions, we'll just put up on the screen some of the key contacts there. So at the top is the Elections Office, Chris, Steph, Julianette and colleagues, Staffordshire Highways, Staffordshire Police single point of contact, Rob's address there, and then finally the Electoral Commission. If you do have any follow-up questions or need to know anything more, do just get in touch with us via email, via phone, make an appointment to come in and see the team. Electoral registration, candidate registration, starts on the 27th of March. Do get in early to make an appointment. And we look forward to working with you through this elections process. Okay, thank you for your time, and we'll end it there.